Why do you come to us?
I just want to keep my family safe. If you want to live here, you have to ride.
Let's do it. Outcasts, that's all they see.
I see you.
Dad, I'm a warrior like you. I'm supposed to fight.
Protect the people.
Avatar: The Way of Water. Rated PG-13. Experience it in 3D. Only in theaters Friday.
Finally, I have been waiting a very long few weeks indeed to actually make this video. And finally, here it is. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Hakim Show. Oh my god, I haven't sounded excited for a video in a long time. And yeah, welcome back to the Hakim Show everybody. This is not a vlog. This is not, this is just a what do I think, but a very special what do I think in fact. The first one ever since Elden Ring Part 1. And I even haven't made a part 2 of that yet. But no worries, anyway, we're not gonna talk about Elden Ring today. Today marks a very special return to what do I think after 10 months of not doing those videos. For me to talk about Avatar: The Way of Water. Freaking finally, man. I have been hyped for this movie ever since its announcement. But like, to be honest, I was only starting to get hyped for this movie since I guess September, October. Like after the announcement that it was supposed to be more longer than 3 hours, I was like, holy shucks. This is a movie I will see in theaters. I don't know why, but just the announcement of a runtime gets me so hyped for the movie until now. And the runtime is totally justified. I'll get to that in a second. But anyway, okay, first, welcome back to What Do I Think? And this is a very special episode of What Do I Think. Not only do I get to talk about Avatar, but this is a very special return in the form of an unscripted review. Now, in context, to provide you with some understanding and some better context of it, normally I will be doing this What Do I Think episodes in a scripted form. Normally, I will be preparing a script and I'll be recording the script and edit, and voila, the video's done. But for this one, I feel like doing a scripted review won't be able to justify how awesome the movie is, because the movie is great. Okay, first of all, let me tell you, the movie is freaking awesome. And so doing a scripted review of it, I will say it's awesome in the finished product. I will say it's awesome or whatever, but in the finished product, you will hear me kind of like just going, it's awesome. Avatar: The Way of Water is a visual masterpiece. You won't hear me being genuine about it. I don't know why. I am feeling genuine as I'm recording the review, but I guess some of you won't like, is he really telling the truth? From the looks of it, he's not. So yeah, just because of that, I feel like, okay, for this movie, I want to be recording a real review of it, totally unscripted, so everything in this video will come purely straight out of my mind with no preparation at all. But that's good because I have a lot of things to talk about this movie. But disclaimer, this will be a non-spoiler review. I won't be giving away major spoilers or anything like that. But yeah, just as a disclaimer, I'm sorry this video turns out to be very long because I have a lot of things to talk about with you. And in the non-spoiler context as well. Even without spoilers, if this turns out to be a gargantuan of a video, I won't be surprised because damn, I have a lot of things to talk about in this movie. Holy shoot! Okay, anyway, where do I begin? Okay, so first of all, okay, let's talk about the story. So Avatar: The Way of Water is the sequel to 2009's Avatar, written and directed by James Cameron. Directed by James Cameron again, as you all are aware of. It follows the story of Jake Sully, Neytiri, and Jake has a family now from Pandora. But after the events of the first movie, in which they successfully defeated the Sky People, Quaritch, who was the main antagonist from the movie, if you remember him, played by Stephen Lang, after he was defeated in the first movie, after he was killed in the first movie, he's actually reincarnated again as a recombinant / Navi in this movie, and though he may not be the same person as he was when he was Quaritch, he still has the memories and the abilities of Quaritch, and from the memories transferred to the recombinant avatar of Quaritch, how do I explain this correctly? So the Navi version of Quaritch, as you see in The Way of Water, so he wants to take revenge against Jake and what he has done towards them all, the RDA people, also known as the Sky people, to the Navi, and Quaritch wants to kill him. So basically the story is like this, okay? To tell you as simple as it is, Jake Sully, Neytiri, now has a family in Pandora, and after a series of threatening attacks again by Quaritch, in his avatar form, Jake decides to go to the Metkaina Reef, or do you say the Metkaina village? He decides to leave Omaticaya for good and goes to Metkaina, which is the watery kingdom of Pandora, as they call it, and to seek refuge for his family there, and to protect even more future threats from the Sky people to attack them. Yeah, but as this is the story doesn't go as simple as that, though it is simple. Quaritch still is determined to find Jake and kill him once and for all, and because of that, more threats happen, more threats ensues, and this story tells about how far is Jake willing to go to protect his family and those that he loves, especially now that he's more, as he belongs in a larger clan now. It's not just the Omaticaya or the forest people themselves. It's now about how far is he willing to go protect his family and also his people, the reef people as well, since they are now part of them. So yeah, that's the story. It's actually pretty simple, but the simplicity of the story is actually the beauty of The Way of Water, and also for the whole Avatar franchise, I suppose. 2009's Avatar was also a pretty simple story on its own. A soldier goes to a foreign land or a forest, with the original intent to attack the people from the foreign land and to mine their resources for their own benefit. But the main character, Jake Sully, suddenly has a dilemma whether or not, because he also kind of because after spending time as a Navi from his own, he has these feelings for Neytiri and the entirety of Pandora, where he actually has a dilemma. So it's actually where he actually has a dilemma on whether or not he wants to continue with his original intent or to fight for the people of Navi against the Sky people. So it's actually a pretty simple story. We've actually seen this type of story many times in a lot of different movies. So, but the way that the Avatar franchise does it is they take the simplicity of that kind of story and make it as large, as visually striking, and as grand as possible. So actually, in a way, the simplicity of the story allows time for you to take in the breathtaking and groundbreaking visual effects of it all. Like, oh my god! And also the visual effects, one thing about it is I also got to watch the September re-release of Avatar in 3D, and I was like, this actually looks visually similar to a movie we'd have today. So I was like, wow, even 13 years later, this movie was way ahead of its time, okay? This movie was way ahead of its time. So I was like, okay, if they somehow even get Way of Water to exceed what I'm watching right now, which is the first movie at that time, I will be visually blown away. I will be blown away by all the effort that they have poured towards this movie. And I was like, since already Avatar 1 kind of resembles a movie that we have today, if The Way of Water somehow even goes miles better than the first movie, then I will be shocked. And yeah, as you may have guessed, the genius that James Cameron is, he manages to beat Avatar 1. Holy But look, that's how impressive this movie is. Like, I couldn't have imagined, like, it's unlike anything you've ever seen on the big screen. I know you've heard, if you follow all the movie news today, it's almost basically the same thing. It's not like anything you've ever seen on the big screen, and I concur. I totally agree with that. The Way of Water is unlike anything you've ever seen on the big screen. It is luxurious, it is beautiful, it is emotional, it is action-packed, and it's 3 hours long. But, okay, now you might be wondering, 3 hours is way too long for a movie, right? 3 hours is kind of like another James Cameron movie that you may have heard of called Titanic. And even Titanic was almost like 3.5 hours long. But that felt like a lengthy movie. That, because, Titanic felt... Anyway, I'm getting out of topic here. So anyway, Titanic is 3 hours and 30 minutes long, from what I can remember. And that felt kind of long. But, the final act pays off. But now for the case of The Way of Water. 3 hours and 12 minutes. When you hear it, it sounds long. It sounds really long. But for me, when I watched it yesterday, 3 hours just felt like a breeze. I was like, wait a minute, the movie's almost over? What the heck? 3 hours just went by just like that. I couldn't even process on how they managed to effectively use that 3 hour runtime. So it's like when you hear movies being 3 hours long, it's kind of like, oh, they could have cut down it from a bit. They could have, shortened the content. They could have shortened the first act, the second act, the third act, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But The Way of Water warranted its 3 hour runtime to tell a very effective story on all aspects, because it's meant to bring you emotion. It's meant because it's rich on character development, emotion, story, especially the visual effects, and overall everything. This movie is a perfect example of a modern blockbuster, and no one can do it like James Cameron does. He manages to pull off everything in this movie in the perfect way possible. Like, after watching this, I wouldn't even be surprised if it somehow again manages to beat Avengers Endgame or Avatar 1, in fact, and become the highest grossing movie of all time. I wouldn't be surprised. It's like James Cameron himself said, he's not even worried that, he's not even worried that this movie will flop. That's how confident he is in the movie. And after watching it, I don't see why not. This movie could easily break box office records. I'm sure it will. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, that's just for. Oh, I'm rambling on for too long in just the introduction of it alone. I haven't even gone to the meat of the thing yet. Okay, so that's for the visual effects. The visual effects are always as groundbreaking, and yes, it's even better than the first Avatar. Believe it or not, if you thought that the first Avatar was already a pretty thing on its own, you should go see this one. And in 3D. If you can see it, please go see it in 3D. I know 3D is not really a popular thing to be watching movies these days, but if you can, just please go watch it in 3D. It's meant to be seen in that way. It's like when you, like, it's also the same for me. I haven't watched a 3D movie. Okay, maybe if you exclude the September release of Avatar, I haven't watched a 3D movie in so long. And even watching the September release of Avatar in 3D, like, I haven't worn 3D glasses in so long, so when I put it on, I was like, okay, this is pretty uncomfortable, but you kind of forget about it once you're immersed in the world of Pandora. And same goes to this one for in fact, when I watched it yesterday, the 3D glasses that they gave me was even bulkier than the one I watched in September. Like, okay, just imagine this. When I watched the first Avatar in 3D, I got this kind of like thin 3D glasses. It was kind of like smaller than expected, and it kind of fit right perfectly at me. But when yesterday I watched The Way of Water, I was initially worried because I got these like Dolby 3D glasses, like from way back in 2012. I wasn't even sure if that was still suitable to be watched, to be used again today. So I was like, okay, this is kind of like worrying. Can I even be wearing this right now in 2022? We're talking Dolby 3D digital cinema glasses from way back in 2012, ladies and gentlemen. I was like wearing it. I was like, okay, it fits me. Surprisingly, it fits me. So, but I was like, is this really okay? I'm watching a 3D movie with bulky Dolby 3D glasses. Will I be able to enjoy the experience of it? I was actually worried, like, oh no, I bought a ticket in 3D and it's kind of expensive. So I was like, okay, settle down. Let's hope it actually works. What do you know? 3 hours and I completely forgot that I even was wearing the glasses. Holy heck. Yeah, it was, so please, again, watch it in 3D if you can. But if you can't watch it in 3D, it's okay. It's still beautiful in 2D anyway. But it's designed in a way that demands for you to be seen in 3D. And not just in 3D. Okay, some people might not even go to a theater to watch this movie. I've heard some people on Twitter saying that they want to wait for streaming, they want to wait for it to appear on TV because, you know, it's a 3-hour movie and, you know, it's a big sci-fi movie. But, no. Please, watch this in the theater. Watch this in a theater with an audience that just... It's just the definitive experience of watching an Avatar movie, you know. You can't really watch it in a TV, in a small screen. You can't really watch it that way. It doesn't do it justice. Yeah, it doesn't really... Oh, I can... Okay, it took me 15 minutes to ramble about the technicalities of it. See, I said before I haven't even got to the middle of the thing and I'm still not. So again, I'm not surprised if this turns out to be a long one, do I think? And it's spoiler free, holy heck. Okay, anyway, alright, enough about that. And also, I want to share with you something. Sorry, but I just have to share with you this one thing. An interesting thing happened at the cinema as I was watching this movie yesterday. Now, normally, I expected I'll be watching it in like standard 2D normal aspect ratio, where it's kind of like just letterbox widescreen. Yeah, that actually happens. But I expected like, okay, after the ads ending, after, you know, all the advertisements are all over, I was like, okay, initially I expected for the curtain to like roll down and you'll get the standard normal aspect ratio like this size. But surprisingly, I was like, wait, why aren't they rolling down the curtain? And it turned out, I may be wrong here, but they actually played, I guess, because it felt like I would be actually surprised if, like, okay, so normally, okay, it was like the cinema screen is like this aspect ratio right here, but I got to watch The Way of Water yesterday in this size. So it was in an expanded aspect ratio. Now I don't know if this was the IMAX version of whatever, but I would be surprised if the IMAX version was like this. It couldn't have been, right? So I was like, wait, did I actually get to see? I wouldn't call it the IMAX version. I'm sure the IMAX version is way larger. I just would like to call it the expanded aspect ratio version. But I was like, okay, this seems pretty unlikely. I usually watch movies in this size and now you're giving me this size? What? So I was like, okay, I wouldn't call it the IMAX version, but did I just watch a movie in the expanded aspect ratio version? Like, holy heck, and I got to watch in 3D. Wow! It was, okay, it was something else. Like, this particular experience was something that I'll never forget. So basically, I got to watch a standard 3D ticket in the price for a movie. Like, I paid for a standard 3D ticket, noting that it would be just like this, like letterbox widescreen, like I said before. But now I got to see the expanded aspect ratio version of it. Wow! Okay, anyway, right, enough of the technicalities. Let's now get to the middle of the story. Alright, again, I said middle of the story 3 times. I haven't even gotten anywhere near it. Alright, so anyway, sorry. Okay, now, what I like about this movie is I like it. I like everything about it. It's hard for me to find faults here in The Way of Water because there's not even a single fault to find, except for, you know, maybe there's one thing though. Yeah, let's get the cons out of the way first, so I can talk about the pros a little bit longer, because honestly, I don't even have any faults to find about this movie. This movie is perfect. Yeah. It's a classic, it's a modern blockbuster, it's emotional, it's heavy, yeah, I mean, okay. Yeah, and I don't know if I've said this before, but yeah, 3 hours just felt like a breeze. It's the shortest 3 hours you'll find in a movie ever. You'll go around it, you feel like, wait, yeah, it's over. Yeah, I think I've said this before. Okay, anyway, alright, wait, where was I just now? Okay. The story may seem... Okay, let's go about the cons first, yeah. So the story, yeah, like the first Avatar, it's actually a pretty simple story. Yeah, it's like what I've said when I recap the story before. It's just, you know, Jake finding refuge for his family, and for him to go to war again. It's actually a pretty simple story, that's it. But yeah, it's like, so just because of the simplicity of that story, maybe excluding the visual effects and what, you may it retreads certain familiar ground that you may seen, like I've said before, in previous movies. But overall, I mean, I don't really care. Like, look, you don't go to an Avatar movie to be judgmental about the story, right? You're there to gush over the beautiful visual effects. You're there to like wow yourselves over what Rita Digital and the FX team has created for you at the big screen. Like, okay, story is important, obviously. Story is important, but you're there for the, don't lie, you're there for the visuals. You're not there for the story. The story is secondary. You're just there to gush over the visual effects. And if you came just for that, yeah, you're gonna have a good time. Yeah, you're gonna have a good time. But yeah, so anyway, like I said before, the story may seem familiar. The story may seem a bit, but even as much as I liked it, some parts of it I found a bit too repetitive. Especially in the first act where, it's entirely set like before we explore the underwater, village of it. The first act is set in Pandora. It's still set in the forest of Pandora, and so I felt like some aspects of the first act were kind of repetitive, but I found it to be it's not unnecessary, but it kind of repeats itself a bit too much. Where I felt like maybe it can be cut down. Like, yeah. It can be cut down to a point where like, okay, let's get this done with and move over to the next act. But so yeah, I think the only fault I have is with the first act. I mean, it's just that, like, if you watch the movie, you may understand what I mean. It's kind of like it's just that again and again and again and again. But when you move on to the second act, you'll be blown away. You'll forget that the movie ever has any faults whatsoever, and you might even find yourself in tears. Yeah, that's how amazing it is. Oh my god. Okay, but yeah, this is just a visual effects showcase I'm talking about now, rather than an actual review. But it's actually my own look. I'm sorry if I may have rambled on for a bit too long. If you're still not clear whether I should see it or not. But I mean, the biggest takeaway from you personally is the visuals. I put the narrative as a secondary because I know it's an Avatar movie, but yeah, the narrative is also important. But I know the effects were so goddamn beautiful. I even forgot there was a story ongoing. But okay, anyway, back to the story. Yeah, continuing on from what I said about the first act. The first act is that, and then they move on to the underwater kingdom, and somehow Jake wants to. It's now the second act is about Jake finding refuge for his family and Interior as well. But okay, from that point on, it's where the movie starts to hit its peak. Especially if you have read some reviews about the movie before, you may have heard that the final hour of it is a giant action spectacle or whatever. Oh my god! Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I think the final hour of The Way of Water is a very, 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 very satisfying final act. It's oh my god, I don't even know how to comment on this without giving some hints of spoilers. But I know I can, because the movie just released today in the US and yesterday in international markets. But okay, all I can say is this: if you're looking for a movie that kind of has a really satisfying final act after but after enduring through kind of a slow build up for the first few acts, for the first few hours of the movie, then yeah, this movie is made for you. But yeah, what I said about the slow build up of the first few acts, it doesn't really feel that slow. But maybe to some people it feels kind of slow because it's more focused about the world building, about the characters, about the emotions and the relationship of those characters. But I think that it works out well. it allows you to be completely immersed in their world, and yeah, it makes you even forget that you're on this planet right now. Watching Avatar is kind of like what many people call as escapist fiction, which again I totally agree. But yeah, I mean the character relationships and the drama of it all completely immerses you as if you're with there, as if you're in that world yourselves, and you kind of forget that you're even here. Yeah, like I said before, I keep repeating myself. Oh my god. But yeah, anyway, my god, stop. Okay. Anyway, that's what it is. But yeah, so basically so without any spoilers, the first act, which about takes about an hour or so. Yeah, even the first act clocks in at nearly an hour, I guess. I didn't even take the time, but I guess it's nearly an hour. Maybe I don't know. But the first act, it's in the forest of Pandora. The second act is where you move to the Omaticaya is the forest. The Metcaina Reef, where you meet some amazing new characters. I like particularly the development of Sireya and Loak, and the Tulkuins. They tug my heartstrings a bit talking about that. Yeah, but I kind of I like the character development of it all. Like every new character, especially like Tonowari, Ronal, the Sully kids, Loax, Toktire, and some other names I already forgot. Oh yes, Neteyam, yes. But each and every characters in the movie actually gets to shine in the spotlight. Like every single character has their story told effectively. Like each of them doesn't even get sidelined at all. It's amazing, yeah. It's amazing how, and this is why I say it warranted the 3-hour runtime, is because it wants you to feel for these characters individually rather than collectively as a group. Now, yes, collectively, some of the characters may get sidelined, some of the characters may not even get mentioned at all, despite their being there and as a pivotal role in the story. But yeah, this is why also it's important for a movie like this to have a big runtime, to have a long runtime. Sorry, not a big runtime. It's because it allows you to feel for the characters. It allows you to feel emotional, to feel empathetic, sympathetic for the characters and all. And especially in the final act, you wish for every single one of them to beat the living hell of those sky people. And yes, I mean, it's truly satisfying. It's like, as you bond with those characters yourselves, you start to feel that the stakes are high, especially when they're threatened. And that allows it for a truly fun act to speak with. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, I mean, this, yeah, like I've said before, like I've said multiple times in this video, it's a perfect modern classic. It's a perfect modern blockbuster. It has a simple story which allows more time for you to gush in the visual effects yourself. I was like, how did they even pull this shot possible? How did they even manage to make this a reality? Holy heck. Oh my god. See, it's almost 30 minutes now and I'm still, and oh gosh, okay. I think I'm rambling on for too long now, but yeah, anyway. I thought The Way of Water is perfect. It is my favorite movie of the year. I thought, and including Top Gun Maverick, I'm sorry, but Avatar just completely blows that out of the water. I had like Top Gun Maverick. Okay, Top Gun Maverick was a very satisfying movie, but I know The Way of Water brings out more emotions than I ever had. I legit teared up. I legit teared up watching The Way of Water, and I didn't cry in Maverick, didn't I? Like the Way of, as much as Maverick was also a very memorable theatrical experience, The Way of Water was cinema at its peak. Especially when you watch in 3D, like, oh my god. You know what? I think I'll make a spoiler review of this movie soon enough. Yeah, give it a few weeks and I'll talk about more of the story details because I can't really talk about it now. But still, already non-spoiler review and it almost has reached 30 minutes. Oh my god. Yeah, I can't talk enough about this movie. But anyway, okay, yeah. Conclusion is, go watch Avatar The Way of Water in the biggest screen you can find. If you can even watch it in IMAX 3D, then that's even better because because even I was watching it in a non-IMAX screen and I got to watch it in the version that had its aspect ratio expanded. Already it felt like I was immersed in that movie, very, 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 very deeply immersed, and I was like, oh my god, this is perfect. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, okay, if you are able to see, please check out Avatar: The Way of Water. It is this year's best movie. I'm not able to say for everyone, but for me, it is my favorite movie of the year. Okay, if I have a ranking, number 1 is The Way of Water. Number 2 is Top Gun Maverick. Number 3, it has a tie between Everything Everywhere All at Once or The Batman. Number 4 is, I'm not really sure. I watched too much movies this year, but I shouldn't have. Okay, anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, everyone. I think I might just make a part 2 of this. Yes. But yeah, but if this still doesn't convince you to go and watch The Way of Water, I don't know what else to tell you. It's amazing. It's an amazing movie-going experience. You have to watch it in the biggest screen you can find. Watch it in 3D, as I've mentioned a couple of times, and you're basically going to remember this for the next few weeks or months or so. Yeah, it is that good. Okay, anyway, I think that's all for me today. Thank you so much for watching this video, for watching me ramble on about technicalities when I shouldn't have. I know I only touched on the story only a bit. I barely even scratched the surface of it all, but I hope you still enjoyed it nonetheless. Yeah, go watch Avatar: The Way of Water and let me know what you think. You can also form your opinions in the comment down below. I also posted an out of theater reaction on my YouTube Shorts yesterday, and it got 130 views. I don't know what is wrong. I don't know if YouTube Shorts, I don't know how YouTube Shorts work. I just posted that as a way to remember myself. I don't even know if it got any views, but somehow I woke up today. And I woke up today also being mentioned by the official Avatar Twitter account, in which my question was answered. Hooray! Yeah, it was a fun day. It was a fun few days for me. Okay, anyway, thank you so much for watching this movie. I thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below if you also watched the Avatar: The Way of Water. Let me know what you think. I also want to see some of your thoughts as well. Maybe we can have an argument. Maybe we can have a debate on what's better and who's that. Okay, thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you have a good day. Yeah, again, I've said thank you a couple of times. I'm not gonna say that again. Alright, have a good day, everyone, and see you in the next video, Hakimos. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Wherever we go, this family is our fortress.
I could protect you from paying for my sins. You give me strength. I'm with you either way. Nothing's lost, no more pain, just you.
Avatar: The Way of Water, rated PG-13. Experience it in 3D. Only in theaters December 16th. Tickets on sale now.